Epistemology of the Moment of Truth is an intervention into queer media studies that seeks to elaborate the structural contiguities between American media and the prison industrial complex, undergirding the rise and proliferation of non-scripted programming, commonly known as reality television, between the late 20th century and the present. While I speak, please enjoy this montage. It's an assemblage of reality TV footage that I ripped and rearranged from YouTube. And I wanted to offer a content warning for footage of cops that begins approximately 2 minutes in. Thank you for having me.
It's the show everyone in America has been talking about for the last 3 months, and it's finally here. It is the simplest game on television. 1 participant, 21 questions, and all that is required is the willingness to tell the truth.
On January 23rd, 2008, Fox premiered The Moment of Truth, an American reality game show in search of the proverbial honest person left in America. The show was a hybrid brainchild of Howard Schultz and Mike Darnell, 2 veritable juggernauts of the American reality mediascape whose joint productive forces fomented a televisual sensation. The first episode of The Moment of Truth garnered 23 million viewers. The show maintained an 8.6 million weekly viewership over the course of its elaboration on Fox, and quickly joined the ranks of the nation's most popular and lucrative nonfiction programming enterprises. According to Nielsen, 50% of the top-rated television programs in 2008 were classifiable as reality television, and The Moment of Truth ranks as the 13th most popular program across all primetime network and cable television offerings in the only year of its life on national television. The program's host, Mark L. Wahlberg, the less famous of the two, articulates the logic of the competition as follows. Prior to tonight's show, all of our contestants have undergone a rigorous polygraph exam. They don't know the results of that test, but if they tell the truth, they can win up to $500,000. Behind the scenes of Wahlberg's seductively simplistic imperative, tell the truth. The Moment of Truth hired 3 staff psychologists to perform private investigations and interrogations of each of their American contestants. Between the contestants' televised confessionals and the Moment of Truth's technologized claims to knowledge, the truth was depicted first as essentially related to, if not locatable on and through the body of the American citizen. By attaching the threat of elimination to the technical detection of deception, the truth was mythologized as well as a discursive substitute for a more general power to punish. A brief return to the invention of reality television shall illuminate the structural contiguities between mass media and the prison industrial complex undergirding this distinctively American apparatus of visual knowledge power. To start, we must identify Cops, which premiered on Fox in 1989, as the first, longest-running, and most successful reality television show in the history of the form. Presently, Cops is in its 32nd season of production, and its estimated net worth is over $500 million. Furthermore, and crucially, Cops animates and reifies the symbolic dimensions of the prison industrial complex, an institution of state power best defined by Angela Y. Davis as a reincarnation of racial slavery, whereby ideologies of racism and the pursuit of profit coalesce with the rise of neoliberal governmentality, such to authorize, incentivize, and rationalize the transformation of imprisoned people into sources of profit. Following Davis, as well as Ruth Wilson Gilmore, Beth Ritchie, and Dylan Rodriguez, among other indispensable theorists of the American carceral regime, if we conceptualize the war on drugs as a political vector undergirding the magnitudinous expansion and intensification of the prison industrial complex between the 1980s and the present, Cops metonymizes an abstract modality of American hegemony that sutures anti-black iconography with the visual signposts of national citizenship. Emerging from the theoretical penumbra cast by Gilles Debord's Society of the Spectacle, Cops and much American reality television that follows postures the total justification of the existing system's conditions and goals. As the one-celled amoeba from which all subsequent reality television proceeds, cops lends a structural base from which we can theorize the most general function of reality television. We shall charge reality TV with fairly consistent reproductions of the neoliberal carceral state's primary symbolic currency, that is, whiteness as citizenship, blackness as criminal captivity, and the prison as an indispensable hinge between late capital accumulation and the carceral state's regime of racial terror in the present era of mass incarceration. As such, I do not conceptualize reality television as a genre. Rather, I understand reality television as a structural coordination and consolidation between state media apparatuses of visual knowledge power. Towards an adequate theoretical language for conceptualizing reality television as an apparatus of state power, I've termed the neoliberal carceral continuum to conjure the symbolic dimensions through which the production of reality television reconciles the ideological needs of the carceral state with dominant signs and common sense signifiers of neoliberal citizenship. Rather than cleaving our analysis of cops from the moment of truth, the neoliberal carceral continuum helps posture these texts as transmedial nodes within a broader symbolic net cast by the disciplinary reproduction of reality television. Turning here to an analysis of the moment of truth's assemblage of panoptic technologies, psychiatric interrogation, polygraph exam, and confessional, what do we make of this promise or arrangement of total knowledge undergirding this program's epistemological operation? Although the lie detector's truth claims are specious at best, the polygraph is contemporaneously associated with and authorized by agents of US law enforcement, such as the police, the FBI, the CIA, etc., who marshal the lie detector as an instrument of legal knowledge power. Subtending the moment of truth's arbitration of confessional speech acts, then, is the deployment of a technology whose efficacy is primarily symbolic, whereas its invocation, qua truth, is disciplinary. Much as COPS is inscribed within a broader institutional framework of carceral punishment, the moment of truth delimits a discursive economy of American discipline, in part through the polygraph's symbolic proximity to state power. It's worth mentioning here that there were no outright winners of the moment of truth short duration on Fox. Season 1 identified no truly honest person in America, at least not according to the reality show's 21-question rubric. In light of the reality show's successful national reception, which is to say in spite or perhaps because of its contestant spectacular failures, Fox renewed the moment of truth for a second season, green-flagged production to begin shooting, and set a return date for season 2 to premiere in early September 2009. And then something happened. What precisely was absconded from public view, but the moment of truth was eventually canceled. By the end of 2009, the show everyone in America had been talking about was suddenly and uncontroversially obviated from national consciousness. In spite of its dominant cancellation, the second season of The Moment of Truth exists and is publicly accessible on YouTube. This partial archive includes shocking footage in which an ordinary American, the only contestant in The Moment of Truth's short history, successfully answers all 21 questions with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Indeed, at the top of the 10th episode of The Moment of Truth's unaired second season, Melanie Williams, a white woman contestant, is awarded $500,000 for answering yes to the question, do you believe your father as an adult has ever had sexual relations with a minor? Leading up to the proverbial moment of truth, we learn that the Williams are a polygamist family. We learn in its aftermath that one of Melanie's father's wives was not 18 but 14 when he married her. Wahlberg turns to congratulate his winner, but Melanie is still broken in tears. It happens all the time. Melanie insists, to Wahlberg's outright shock and bewilderment. It happens all the time. Wahlberg turns then to Melanie's father, who says, gosh, I'm not sure when I did this I knew what a minor was. That was a long time ago. And so on. Wahlberg proceeds to his final address. Well, we have found a truly honest person in America, and her name is Melanie Williams. What she has revealed, how you feel about what she's revealed, how I feel about what she's revealed, will take some time to get our heads around, but the fact remains, she answered our 21 questions, and she has won $500,000. Partial archives are like memory gaps, or stress streams, or hysterical symptoms, at least insofar as such materials form the ephemeral bases for attempting to apprehend the subject of sexual violence within a history of the present. Neoliberal carceral styles of knowledge strive to bury those subjects, like Melanie Williams, whose claims to know sexual violence, not within the body of the criminal, but within the body of the father and the law, betray the most rudimentary tenets of white nationalism, neoliberal citizenship, and heteropatriarchal futurity. Hence, this paper, this speech act, a critical intertext between the seen and unseen footage of the moment of truth, this queer theory seeks to identify and to analyze the limits of representation within the national imaginary. The structural silencing of Melanie Williams elaborates the subject of sexual violence as one of profound unknowability. To draw from Judith Butler, perhaps now we shall ask, what has this non-happening done to the question of truth? The disciplinary gears of unknowing generate an absence thick with presence, an appearance of lapse or lack that is itself a sign of the will to forget the collateral damages of the state's monopoly over legitimate violence. At any rate, the cultural common sense that maintains prison and rape as nearly synonymous signifiers reveals the state's vested stakes in the use of sexual violence as a technique of racialized and gendered punishment and domination. One of the urgent tasks of anti-carceral feminism, then, necessitates an intervention into the realm of popular meaning-making. The state itself is the unary locus of sexual harm. The prison is not a solution, but rather a guarantor of sexual violence as structural violence, and abolition is the only ethical response to rape. Thank you.